my God, last week was just all arguing about semantics.
Yep. This is my opinion. I only like my opinion.
But it was generic. So both of us just argued about generic. Like we called the other person generic, basically, the whole time.
You're so basic.
So basic. It's not doing anything exceptional. Most basic lyric I've ever heard.
You don't have the best, retorts.
People come to us for not for our wit, but for our. I don't know what they come to us for, actually.
I don't think many people do. Welcome to Two Brothers Argue Over Everything, episode 4. Wow. We're really popping them in. Today we are going to be discussing different sports that are kind of on the fringe, not necessarily mainstream kind of things. And so I chose for Michael to watch a round of disc golf. The European Open, I believe, in 2019.
18 holes.
All 18 holes. Michael did that because he realized his was much longer than mine was originally.
Yeah. Disc golf holes go fast. I was, also I just clicked, you sent me the back nine. So then I clicked the back nine and then the announcer was like, if you haven't seen the front nine, what are you doing? Close this and go watch it. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I realized after telling you that the front nine was pretty epic too. So
yeah, I mean, we can get into it in a little bit.
Yeah, and so that's what I gave Michael to watch. And do you want to describe what you gave me?
Yeah, I gave James kind of a relay race from Games Done Quick, which is a speed running kind of marathon. And they basically did a race of a modded version of Super Mario World. So a bunch of modders got together, modded a blind race for these runners for them to race in teams of 4. That's a little more complicated to explain than disc golf.
Yeah, so esports versus disc sports, I guess.
I guess so.
We'll see. Do you want to go first? Would you like me to go first?
I can. We can talk about disc golf first.
Okay.
Because I think the other one's just going to take a lot of time to kind of even explain what the hell it was. But that disc golf was fun. I don't know. I actually enjoyed disc golf. I think this is one of the first times that in this show that we watched something and I was like, okay, I dig it. I think we were trying to be nicer to each other this week.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I was nice to you. I don't know, maybe
a little bit nicer, yeah, than directly thinking something that you knew I would not like.
But disc golf was, I mean, it's basically 4 people throwing frisbees, like specialized discs, frisbees, into a specific spot, and it was just full of dudes, with a guy with names like Eagle and McMahon. Those guys. Those guys like standing in crazy angles and then throwing frisbees in the weirdest ways you've ever seen to get exactly to basically weave between branches of trees to get to the other side. So I have things I could talk about the broadcast aspect of it because I think that I just gravitate to that kind of thing. But there was nothing inherently that annoyed me about the content. I mean, it was pretty mellow, and I wish they did tell me who was who because they're all 4 white guys that kind of look the same to me. So Like,
Right.
I wish it was like, wait, which one's Eagle? Is he wearing the pink shorts or is he the one in the like they didn't like tell you who was who, which was a little tough.
No, it was only like the announcers being like, "Ooh, Eagle had quite the rip there." Like
Those announcers were so
easy
awesome.
tap in for Macbeth, you know, stuff like that. They don't like ever say like, yeah, in blue polo we have.
Yeah, because they have their like their scores at the bottom, and I thought at least they would highlight who was throwing.
Yeah,
That makes the most sense. But
they only kind of do it at the end when they score. They're like, this person got a birdie, this person got.
so I have to figure it out after the fact. So it seems like they record these, and then they kind of edit together a short version, and then the announcers talk over the edited version. So those announcers were pretty chill. They were like golf announcers,
Mhm,
which was quite different from what I sent you, which is a lot of people yelling.
mhm,
Very different from esports. But yeah, it was pretty chill. You know, it was easy to also lose track of who was who and who's ahead and who's behind.
mhm.
Golf is always kind of tough because usually it's not a photo finish in golf. Usually somebody wins like 3 holes beforehand. You know,
Right.
so you have to pay a lot of attention, kind of.
The score and how it was changing. So, did you notice the fact that that guy Paul Macbeth had like an 8-stroke swing on everybody and like totally took over in that round?
No, I did notice that I noticed that he really started taking over and he started really tightening up, and everyone else was kind of throwing it out of bounds and stuff, and he was holding steady. I picked all that up, but it's I don't watch golf either, so it's like it's a slow. You
Hmm.
kind of change the way you look at the sport, because it's small incremental changes that all add up, right?
Yeah.
Small moments. It's not like a massive 3-point shot and the crowd explodes. It's usually like those decisions made throughout the 18 holes, kind of all
That's true.
throughout the day. You know,
Yeah, it relies more on like playing it smart and setting yourself up to get a good score so that you can maybe get a better score on the next one if you don't have a great shot, you know. Just minimizing negatives.
so let me talk about some of my notes here because there were a lot of funny parts to this. First of all, this man's name is Eagle. That's just unbelievable. Is that his real name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Eagle McMahon.
Eagle McMahon. Awesome. That's an awesome name. If you have
Right? It's like he was made for a golf sport, you know?
or like made for like just throwing frisbee. It's like your name is Eagle McMahon. Like what a life. What a sports you have to immediately enter every sport, you know.
Pretty sure he was like competitive like as a young teenager. So, you know, it's been in his DNA for a while. We're going to play frisbee competitively.
Came out of the womb with the frisbee.
Yeah. I mean, didn't you see like one of his that like they had like random commercials cut in,
Yeah.
like my most important shot, and one of
Yeah.
them was with Eagle McMahon and he had braces. So, I don't
So
think that guy's that old. I'm going to look him up.
yeah. So it's like one of the other things was this took place in Finland, and there was just so many freaking people. So many people at this course. There's like
Yeah.
thousands of people watching these games. And the views on the video you sent me, it has like hundreds of thousands of views. This golf is huge. It's a little surprising how big it is, you know?
Right? It's like you did not realize it was as sorry, I was trying to find his age. Okay, it looks like he's like 21, 22.
Okay.
So yeah, like disc golf is like more established than ultimate frisbee, and like as far as I think YouTube presence and like overall like where like how it's everywhere. Like there's an app called UDisc for you know, keeping track of your disc golf score, and it's like pretty much the thing that all disc golfers use, and they
Yeah.
talk about it in some of those stream saying like, oh, on UDisc this is an average 3.5, thing, but so yeah, it's so weird how it's like such a developed thing, and I'm kind of just tapping into it.
Yeah, that is cool. That's all. I always love that moment where you're like, oh, this is a community. That's fun. I didn't know.
Like a lot of people like this. Okay, wow.
Wow. Oh! Look at all these websites. Look at
Yeah, like so many different companies and
Mhm.
things that are just all created around disc golf.
It's pretty cool. Um, and it's probably cheaper than regular golf.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know how much a set of clubs is, but you can buy a starter pack of 3 discs for $44 and then go to a free course, and then you just played. So
Cheers. It's
that's
like
the minimum.
$44 to do one round of golf. Usually,
Yeah.
go to the
So
golf course.
and and you buy discs, you add to them. They're each like under $20,
Mhm.
so it's not expensive.
One of my other notes is their outfits look like a combination of golf and like a little bit of ultimate culture. Just like it's a weird mix of the two. It's like they have these flat brim hats, but also wear polos.
The collared shirts, definitely. It's that weird like we want to be our own thing, but also we want to be respected. Like I wish
Yeah.
I sent you around with this guy called James Conrad, who
Mhm.
has the longest hair ever, like a crazy freaking ponytail, and it just whips around every time he throws it.
That's so awesome. Yeah, that was one thing I noticed is it is trying to like look legitimate. You know,
Hmm.
like a lot of times with these kind of non-traditional sports, they try to mimic traditional sports and look as much like them as possible. So, like Madden, if you ever watch professional Madden, they try
Hmm.
to copy a football broadcast. You know, the announcers sound like football announcers. They talk like football announcers. You know,
Oh, that's true. They were kind of like whispering like it was a golf shot and they were there, even though they're just like in a studio afterwards recording their reactions.
yeah, they were like, "Oh my gosh,
Do
wow,
you see that throw by Eagle? Wow.
that might be one of
Eagle's
the
going with
best.
the forehand.
That might be one of the best throws I've ever seen in my whole career. Wow,
Wow.
no, wow." Meanwhile, if it's like, on the other side is like what I sent you, which is like doesn't give a fuck about being traditional, and it's just people screaming and people like, "Oh my god, I've never seen anything like that in my life! What a finish!"
Right. Which in some ways, it has its own merits of like it's hype and it's exciting. But like you can learn way more by watching a professional broadcast versus like a hyped up broadcast because they just put more effort into explaining what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they threw a couple of words out there that you didn't know, but like once you pick up the lingo,
Mhm.
you're kind of understanding the plays that they're making a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit of the ebb and flow. Um,
Yeah.
my last little note that I think I had was this man, the stances that people did to throw discs. I wish I could like zoom out and show you
Mhm.
exactly the stance, but this man was like, imagine these are his legs. He was doing this.
They do full on like split
Yeah,
splays because they
he
have
was
to
like,
have their 1 foot where the disc was. So if they can stretch themselves out and get far away from like around a tree or something, then they're gonna do it.
that's why. Okay,
Yeah,
wondering like
and
why they
also
were doing that. Is they wanted to be just
sometimes
over the
there's
ground?
sometimes there's like cover, and they need to throw underneath the trees that are
Yeah.
over top, so they have to get lower to kind of throw up. But sometimes they want to spread out and go around objects just with their body.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's mostly what I. Those are all my notes. I mean, it seems cool. I don't know how much of this I'll watch. I might watch the dude with the ponytail because that seems hilarious to me.
Mhm. Do you want to give it a rating so we can have
But
some semblance of segment?
oh, okay. Let's do a rating. Oh, we didn't do a rating last week.
We did.
This week, I'll give it a 7. I would say.
Seven.
Evan.
All right.
I don't know enough about the game or whatever, but I'd probably watch another one if you were like, this one is also good. I'm like, okay.
Okay. I
And they're
might
so
send you.
short.
They are short.
They're so short. I mean, these games are so short. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't
but
do
especially 'cause they cut
Counter
it all
Strike
together.
because it's like 3 hours long. What?
Especially because they cut it all together
Yeah.
for the editing. They don't just have to fill time with broadcasting. It's all
Mhm.
like post stuff. So that's
It
really
was
cool.
really cool. Yeah. I struggled with finding something short for you because, like, Counter Strike is a great esport.
Mhm.
Some people kind of understand because it's simple, but they're long. Those games are like 3 hours long. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, watch this 3 hour long thing when you sent me a half an hour long thing.
Right. A little tough to make the comparison.
So, yeah. So
Definitely.
what were you about to say?
Well, do you want to just jump into yours?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I took my notes a little bit more in like the categories of summary, takeaways, and that kind of stuff.
I like that you're being a traditionalist, James. I respect that about you.
I'm very into. Sorry, let me get my lamp out of the shot.
It was dynamic.
Was it creating good depth?
Yeah.
Um,
I like your setup. This is such a good setup for you. My setup keeps moving.
yeah, mine. This is really all I have as far as it does. Not many things available. Okay, so I'll talk about it. So Michael gave me a speed run of he described it modded Mario, Super Mario. Um, and so I wrote the summary as it's two teams of four guys racing to compete levels of Super Mario they have never seen before. The first 6 rounds don't matter that much. They give a slight advantage for the final winner, like the final winner take all round. But the other team is allowed to watch your screen and see where you fail and just apply that to their tactics. So it's
Yeah.
not really that much of an advantage. It's like
Yeah.
you allow two guys to go
Yeah.
and oh snap, two more guys can go. So those first 6 rounds were completely useless. It seemed to me. I mean, they definitely. I mean, they maybe they gave that one team a little bit of an advantage, but
Yeah.
those guys were like
I mean, that team won anyway. So the team with the advantage still won, but
the team with the advantage won, but they were like clearly better the whole time.
mhm.
So
It was funny. One guy on that team, Dode, like straight carried his whole team on his back.
that's true. And that guy, uh, something cat
Lich Cat, maybe.
glitch, yeah, he definitely helped his team out in the early rounds a lot. But
It's not a very compatible. It's not a very competitive thing. It's mostly just a fun showcase.
okay, so
Sense?
yeah, it didn't seem like a well established game as far as like I don't know a community of people that would do it, but they did have teams, so that made me feel like maybe this is some sort of underground thing that more people compete in than But my takeaways were like my first one is it kind of embodies a lot of problems with esports when it makes it unrelatable to like the average sports viewer.
Mhm.
Uh, when they use things like gamer tags, like every single person only is referred to by their gamer tag.
Yeah.
And the average person that is just so confusing and annoying. Like the announcers refer to themselves as their gamer tags.
Yeah.
And I wanted to look back to see what they were dressed up as, but they were definitely not going for the professional look that you were talking about, where they're like trying to seem cool. But it was a part of like a stream for charity. So it wasn't necessarily supposed to be like a super professional tournament thing, right?
Yeah, I probably should have set your expectations better. This was twice a year they do these charity streams where it's like a week long, 24-hour speed running marathon for charity.
Okay.
So these guys, this is an event they put on as like, to entertain people during this charity. That community is real. but they just play these modded levels. They don't really they like speed run the modded levels, but they don't necessarily that much. That's not really much of a scene at this point.
Okay. Um, so, but like they kept it in like the not. They definitely kept it looking unprofessional by like the announcers treating it unprofessional. You know, they
Yeah.
make fun of the players. They don't know what actually happened. At one point, like the main announcer's like, "It's all tied up," and I'm like, "Is it all tied up? Like I thought it was definitely 3-1 right now."
He's not a good announcer.
Then at the end of it, he's like, "There's Doge holding up the trophy," and he's like, "That's not Doge. That's blah blah blah." You know,
Doge?
or Dode or whatever the fuck it
Yeah,
is. This
yeah,
is why I
Doge
have
is funny
a
though.
problem with only using gamer tags for names. Um,
Learning curve is like this. Yeah. It's like, wait, who's who?
so they didn't know the score and they didn't know who was holding the trophy. Um, it was a really hard thing to follow, to like watch alongside each other. I was often looking at the wrong screen, and like maybe 20, 30 minutes into it, I tried to figure out like try to see who's furthest along in the level, and then once they die, switch to the other screen. But then sometimes one person would be stuck behind a checkpoint, and you'd kind
Yeah.
of want to see that team get past the checkpoint, but the other team is like way ahead, and you want to see them beat the level. So it's like hard to watch
Yeah.
both screens at the same time, especially because the announcers aren't help making it easier, and like the overall graphics of the stream don't help with like making it easy to understand what's going on. Like they could have easily had a little graphic that said, you know, rounds, you know, 3-1, and then the announcer would know what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
um,
They had three announcers, none of which one did all the talking, and then the other two just kind of chipped in, being like, "Yeah, that's pretty crazy." Yeah.
yeah. Oh, these speedrunners, they're doing great.
Yeah,
The
you
one
know,
guy
we
was definitely the more hyped up, excited guy. I think his name had something to do with Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, his name is Spiked Vegeta. Spiked Vegeta.
So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know his real name.
See, that's the weird thing about not knowing people just by their like weird names. Um,
My favorite one of those guys is his name is Barb.
Barb, yeah,
His name is
Barb.
not actually Barb, but it's like something, I don't know what his last name is.
They keep talking about Barb and like, oh, he is getting absolute. Barb is getting absolutely owned right now. He is destroyed.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird way to. And then you look at his picture and it's just like thing.
Yeah.
So
The worst possible pictures of them.
definitely, I think a niche market, you know, of people that are into, I don't know, esports and speedrun culture. You know, they would kind of be more entertained by the
Yeah.
announcer. Um,
Mhm.
but I definitely just thought it was hard to follow, like who was ahead, who was behind, you know, who had the advantage on rounds. Um, and like a close level kind of gets annoying when they're like right next to each other, because you're
Mhm.
like, who am I supposed to watch? Like it's like a if a tennis match wasn't behind a person, it was like to the side of the court, and you had to watch the ball go back and forth.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my second takeaway. Is it's hard to follow, but my third one is I really like the idea of the game, and it's a cool competitive team game that feels kind of old school with like the passing of the controller. You know, like definitely something you would do, like you know, with your friends back, you know, back when Super Mario came out. Just like we've beaten all the levels. How can we make this fun? Let's make it a relay with a couple of our friends. So that was cool, and the game graphics are really cool with the player characters.
Mhm.
Like you know, looking like the actual characters. Like you know, if they're wearing a hat, they're wearing a hat. If they have a headband, they're wearing a headband.
Yeah.
But why did they have to expose that balding guy so badly and like have pixels going back like this way? That was rude to do to that guy. Uh,
It was, Yeah, it was so funny. Yeah, oh yeah, the, the deep ass widow's peak. Yeah.
Basically, a mohawk of balding.
But yeah, it's like yeah. So yeah, the modders changed the sprite of Mario to look like the person that was playing. So I just wanted to explain that. Just in case.
Yeah, so, and it would switch out as they switch controllers, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But like that it was kind of mean to represent that balding guy, so balding. And then just at the end of the stream, he was standing with his head directly, the back of his head directly facing the camera, and I was like, somebody tell this man that he needs to move because it's so freaking bad. And like the losing team was so awkward. They were like sitting there like, oh yeah, we lost, huh? Oh yeah. Like, should we stand up? They're standing up. Yeah, I guess we should stand up. But all in all, I thought it was a cool game. Clearly very difficult skill to develop, and the level designs were really cool, like the equestrian one.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, yeah, this. Yeah, what'd you think of the concept of these like modding Super Mario Brothers to make it really, really fucking hard, or really creative for these? What did you think of that?
I think it's cool. What did they start doing this before, like Super Mario Maker?
Yeah, this is older than Super Mario Maker. So
Like, it's clearly a good idea because they just copied the idea and turned it into their own, game. So yeah, I thought it was cool. Definitely cool that they like had never seen the levels before, and they were kind of learning as they go. And little things that were like pop out and kill them when they think they're safe.
At the end of the levels, there was always something that killed them if they were.
Just from the sky.
It's a flying fish or something.
So yeah, I thought it was cool level designs.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
So, do you think would you watch a speed run of one of those unique levels?
So I don't like for the would I watch it again rating?
Well, no,
So
no, just like one. Yeah, would you like watch something? Just one of those guys. Let's say Barb or Pooh or whoever.
watch some speed run. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. But like I would probably want to watch like a video instead of like a stream because I know a lot of speedrunners just stream because you have to attempt thousands of times in order to get the speed run you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would get old.
You'd watch them. Do you think you'd watch one of those games done quick event stream?
Like a
Like
charity
a video? Yeah.
So since it was such a goofy broadcast, I'll give it a goofy rating of a 6.9 out of 10 for watchability.
Rating.
Right. So I think that I would watch something like that maybe again, but it was definitely hard to follow. And like I said, towards the end of it, it was like it was getting a little bit much. They definitely should have put more purpose into the first 6 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Like best. Yeah, like it's just have them. If you win it, then you eventually they have to play all the levels anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you win, go to the next level. Have it be like that. Just an ultimate.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Right.
I think they wanted to give each level sense. So those levels, I don't know if they told you that those levels like took months to make. Like those people spent a lot of fucking time and energy and hours into that stupid speed run that took like it was done in an hour. You know what I mean? It's so that's
right.
Impressive to me. Like the amount of hard work that goes into something that stupid.
They did put lots of time and effort into a very throwaway kind of thing.
Yes, and you have just the idea of turning Mario into each person individually, then having all of their portraits. They have to put that into a Super Nintendo cartridge, so it has to all fit onto the Super Nintendo cartridge.
That's so weird.
So it has to be a certain length, and you can't use certain things that aren't already in a Super Nintendo.
And it
Like,
can only handle so much, I'm sure.
yeah, so it took it took a lot of skill to make something as silly as that like Yoshi killing level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's they definitely lots of time and effort. That's one thing that's interesting about video game culture is time is unlimited. It seems like when it comes to the memes.
Yeah. There's no amount of work that's too much work for a good meme.
Very good meme. Now, one guy being named Pooh was so awkward.
Well, his name is Grand Pooh Bear.
But why didn't they call him like Pooh Bear? Like his name on the screen is Pooh, and they keep calling him Pooh. Like,
That that's the shorthand that they've decided for him. His levels keep getting banned by Nintendo because he'll put in like a Mario Maker level.
mhm.
It'll be called Pile of Poo colon blah blah blah, and then it keeps getting banned.
Because of Pile of Pooh.
Yeah, they can't use the word poo. Apparently, Nintendo is not happy with it.
Wow, it's like the old days. You can't say fart. You can't say poo.
Yeah.
Nintendo is a little bit too into like trying to be family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Disney too.
Disney.
Mm-hmm. Like you remember Love Simon? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah. Oh no, I've seen like commercials for it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're doing another one, like Love somebody else.
Yeah, they produced it for Disney Plus, but when they finished it, they were like, "This can't be a Disney thing." They gave it to Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, there was like this isn't family friendly enough. Even though they produced it and they saw the scripts, they just panicked and then gave it to Hulu.
At the end, they're like, you guys have it.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Take this. We don't want.
It's 2:30.
That happened to the Lizzie McGuire reboot.
I'm not very upset about that.
I don't know how a Lizzie McGuire reboot. I mean, I'm not that upset either, but I don't know how you can think a Lizzie McGuire reboot is not going to be family friendly. It's insane to me. They panicked in the middle.
That would definitely be all about family friendly.
I don't know. But your thing is more family friendly than my thing. I think my thing was a little rougher.
Did they swear?
I don't know. Well, actually, that's true. GDQ tries to. Actually, the speedrunning community gets mad at them because because they try to be family friendly, even though the speedrunning community 100% is not family friendly. Like most of the time.
All the speedrunners like these people are posers. Not surfing. God.
Oh, my favorite example is they had a speedrunner in the past Games Done Quick whose gamer tag is Tomato Anus. And they made him change his name for the broadcast. So his name is Tomato Angus.
It's so weird. That's one of those weird things about like calling people the gamer tag. Like nobody's like, all right, John's up next, you know? Nobody in the competitive esports community is ever referred to by their normal name, which is so strange.
Yeah, it's very, very rare that somebody is referred to by their normal name. And that's only if like the person is very familiar with them. Like if they're best friends, maybe they'll call them Jason or something. You know?
Right. But all commentators has to be gamer tag, gamer tag, gamer tag.
Up next, Wizrobe versus Mango.
Makes a lot of sense. Who are these people?
Yeah, it's fun though. I don't know. I enjoy it. I like weird names. I think weird names are great.
That's why Eagle McMahon and were there any other funny names in the card? Who else is?
Not really. Eagle is just the funniest name.
He's a funny looking guy. Definitely very scrawny.
They're all scrawny.
It's so weird that like, you don't need lots of muscle to throw a disc very far. It's all just technique.
I think we're like off the rails.
All right. Well, it sounds like that's the end of the episode.
Is that the end of the episode? It feels like we're off the rails completely.
Did you have an idea for next week?
I have no idea what to do next week. Do you
I was
have?
thinking a podcast.
Oh, a podcast? That'd be fun.
Right?
I could give you Behind the Bastards.
That'd be good. I listened to L. Ron Hubbard one. It was good.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I have to give you something else then, since you watched it.
Yeah. Something you never heard of.
All right. Podcast it is then. It'll be a nice meta episode.
Yeah. We'll be reviewing a podcast that talks about podcasts. What if we review ourselves? I give you us, and you just have to be very critical.
All right. I mean, I'm already very critical, so I have pages of notes about how we could be better.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you again for listening, watching, doing whatever. Like, we appreciate you. I think we're up to 30 subscribers, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, on YouTube?
No, on across our audio platforms.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Well, thanks for liking or subscribing if you've done that.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.